Okay, think about it. Someone said to me last week, it was one of the people that came for the first time, they were like, "Do you do this every week?" And I was like, as a matter of fact, we do. Just closing the door. I said, as a matter of fact, we do. We do this every single week. So, I'm going to start with one of the lyrics, and it's this. Let's go back, let's go way back, when I didn't even know. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that time in your life? Go back, I love that. Oh yeah, I don't remember yesterday. Let's go back, let's go way back to a time when I didn't know. When I didn't know what? When I didn't know anything, and yet I knew everything. Remember that time? Yes. When you didn't know anything, but you knew everything. Just talk to a child. Children who haven't learned much yet know everything. They know everything because they come here with it. We came here with everything, and then we learned nothing. No. We came here with everything, and then we started learning things that kind of took us away from what we knew. Oh, it's this. Oh, wait. Oh, I should be afraid of this. Oh, wait. Oh, no. This could actually fail if I tried it. Anybody recognizing that? Oh, this is how love works. You get your heart broken sometimes, right? Yet, if we go way, way back to a time when I didn't know, if we actually went there, and that's why I love that expression, I know nothing. Now what can I know? Just a great way to live your life. I know nothing here. Now what can I know? So today's talk title is The Freedom to Disengage. The freedom to disengage. And it's not just about unfriending people on Facebook, which I've had the pleasure of doing this week. So, the freedom to and I mean pleasure, because when you get to the point where you're finally like, you know what? I have heard enough from you. I have heard enough of that kind of energy on my Facebook page, which is really my Facebook page, and I'm done. Unfriend, you're done. If only we could do that in our minds. If we could just unfriend those beliefs that we have. Wouldn't that be awesome? That's like a whole different talk. Enough of that. So, that's like a whole different talk. Unfriending our beliefs. If only it was that easy to just go in and go, unfriend lack, unfriend fear, unfriend whatever you have going on that's taking you down these roads. But you know what it really is? And that's what today's talk is all about. The freedom to disengage. Viktor Frankl said this, between stimulus and response, there is a space. I want you to think about that for a second. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In the space between stimulus and response, there is a moment, there is an energy, there is a space to choose our response. And he says, in our response lies our growth and our freedom. Now, I would wager that many of us don't recognize that there actually is a space between stimulus and response. We just kind of feel like, this happens and I do that. She says this and I say that. And it doesn't feel very often. Do you ever hear two people fighting where there's like no breath, no one's listening, they're just both screaming at each other? Yeah, and you don't know that there's a space, but there is. There really is a space. And would any one of those two people, any of them, take the moment with the space, the whole conversation may shift. I think the whole world would benefit from actually spending some time in that space. So, the space between the stimulus and the response is actually the space where the decision occurs. I spent 7 hours yesterday in the power of decision. And I want to thank each and every one of you that were there. It was a packed room, and we had the most incredible, incredible day workshop, and I learned so much. You know, people like thinking I'm teaching it. I'm not teaching it. I'm just bringing up what needs to be brought up, and then we all learn. And it was just amazing. And the idea about decision, the power of decision, one of the most amazing books ever written, Raymond Charles Barker, The Power of Decision. But decision is right there between stimulus and response. You have to decide to get angry. You have to decide to engage. And you have to decide to disengage. And there is freedom in that. The freedom to disengage. Martin Luther King said, freedom is never voluntary. No, freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Now, I want you to think about that. Ernest Holmes, very often in the textbook, says, you must take what it is you want. And when he talks about taking it, he doesn't mean I go to Laurie Savage and take what I want at all. He means you take it in mind. You must take your mind back. You must take your thoughts back. You must take your beliefs back. And when you demand that your mind functions this way, your life plays itself out in accordance to what you've just demanded in mind. That's what Martin Luther King meant when he says freedom is not voluntarily given by the oppressor. Your beliefs, your negative beliefs, your warped beliefs, your old beliefs that no longer serve you, they're not going to eat. They're not just going to go, oh, okay, believe something else. They're not going to do that. They're not going to just leave. You have to, as we did yesterday for 7 hours, bring them up, look at them, see them, go, you no longer, you're unfriend. You're done. I'm done. I'm done thinking that way. I'm done believing that way. Disengage. The space between the thought and the damage the thought is about to wreak is decision. Every thought you have, now we say you've heard change your thinking, change your life. I don't necessarily think that's absolutely true. It's not change your thinking, change your life, because you really can't change your thinking unless you've changed your beliefs. Because you only think what you think because you believe what you believe. So, if I'm going to change my thinking, I better change my belief. Otherwise, I'm just playing in this realm of nothing's happening. And that's what happens in New Thought a lot. People come into it, they start changing their thinking, and I did this yesterday in class, and they're like, no, life is fine. Life is, I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I'm not afraid. And it's like nothing's changed. You're just talking until suddenly your belief comes up. So, was that gay? Anyway. So you've got to change the belief in order to change your thinking. And then you can change your life. So this talk that I worked on today, I am really here to tell you it is time for you to demand your freedom from these radical thoughts. How many of you have radical thoughts? And the rest of you are brilliantly perfect. As you are, I know that. That was sarcastic. I have radical thoughts. Even me. How quickly they turn. There's like all of a sudden out of nowhere a thought will come by. I'm like, what? I can't believe you really think that. Or you've thought that again. You haven't thought that since college, high school. We all have these radical thoughts that just come in and want to take over and tell us, no, this is how it is. It's like, no, it isn't. Because there is that space between the time the thought comes in and the havoc that it's going to wreak. If I allow it, if I decide to let it just float on through. And as I talked about yesterday, just finding out, why am I still thinking that? Why do I still think that? Like Terry said, Terry's been in this teaching how many years? 140 years. He has been in this teaching. He was there when Moses brought those tablets down. No, I'm kidding. I should only look like that with that purple shirt on. So, Terry has been in this teaching for a very long time, and he just got up here and literally bared his soul and said, I forgot all about it. For a week, 2 weeks, a week. I forgot. I forgot who I was. I forgot. I just forgot. And so what happens? All the radical thoughts come back because our beliefs don't ever really leave us once we have them. We just know what to do with them until we don't. And so then we engage them. So Terry engaged those beliefs. He engaged with them. He dealt with them. He played with them. He let them fester in his mind. He let them take him to a very dark place until a very light woman said, let's have dinner. And if you've ever had dinner with Marilyn, you know she is the sunshine of my life. And she brought this light back into him, and he said, you know what? My God, look what I have. Gratitude is a magnet for prosperity. I say that all the time. Gratitude for what I have. So that's engaging. So what did he do? He disengaged from all that crap, and he started to engage with what he had. That's the freedom of disengaging. You are mind. You're not your thoughts. You're that thing that thinks the thoughts. You're not your thoughts. You're not even your beliefs. You're the thing that believes what you believe. You are mind. You are conscious mind. You are the infinite power of the universe speaking through yourself individually and knowing what you need to know at all times until you engage in what you shouldn't be engaging in. And I say shouldn't because you know there are things you shouldn't be thinking. You shouldn't be allowing yourself to engage in. So the freedom comes from you have the right to disengage from them. Unfriend. Ernest Holmes says, the conscious mind is superior to all thought. And this knowing is the path to freedom. The conscious mind is superior to all thought. Your mind, your individual mind, Karen Needle, is superior to anything you have ever thought, to anything that has ever happened to you. Sherry, your mind, it is more powerful than anything that's ever gone on in your life or will. That's how powerful your mind is. Every single one of us here today. That's how powerful our individual mind is. That's the only tool we have. My mind is more powerful than anything that could show up in the world of form. That's how powerful we are. Ernest Holmes goes on to say, freedom of will means the ability to do, say, and think as one wishes, to express life as one personally desires. So I have a question for you today. Are you living life as you desire to live it? And I mean every aspect of it. We talked yesterday about the table, the balanced table. I like to think of life as this balanced table, the four legs that hold this table together. My mind just said, what about a three-legged table? Anyway, it's a four, because my mind keeps going even when I'm trying to talk. And doesn't that happen, right? You know what you're talking about, and you're still hearing these other thoughts. It's like, shut up. So, here's this table, four legs, right? Health, prosperity, relationships, and creative expression. There's the four corners of my life, four legs. Here's the table. Any one of those gets out of balance, any one of those gets weak, and the table is compromised. Your life is compromised. So when we're talking about freedom of will means the ability to do, say, and think as one wishes, to express life as one personally desires, I mean in every area of your life. Don't become brilliant at health and have wobbly rest of the legs. It's about balancing all of it. The freedom to disengage from anything that compromises my table. And I said yesterday, and I want to be on top of my table going, look at this, look how firm this is. I love it when everyone's so quiet. My mind goes, they're either listening or they have really checked out. Which is it? Okay, good. Both. Who said both? Really? Moving right along. Here's something that I want to say to you today. No thought has ever done anything to you. Just think about that for a minute, digest it. No thought has ever done anything to you. We think that thoughts can hurt us. We think that things other people say can hurt us. We think that events and situations can hurt us. No thought has ever done anything to you. No belief you've ever had has ever done anything to you. Oh, has it materialized in the world of form? Absolutely. But has it done anything to you? To who you truly are? Who you innately are? Terry said it. All he had to do was turn his mind around, and he's back. He's back. That's how it works. And we have to remember, we have to decide to know no thought, place, person, or thing can do anything to me at all, because I am conscious mind. So in other words, disengage. Ernest Holmes also said this, we must know that truth produces freedom because truth is freedom, which says to me, in other words, disengage from the lies. You must disengage from the lies. And I guess first thing you'd have to do is understand, what are the lies? Where are the lies in your life? Where are you living in the midst of a lie? I remember when I got sick, when I had cancer, the first thing I thought of was, this is impossible. It's just impossible that I have cancer. This is a lie. It can't be true. And I remember when they first told me, my reaction was to laugh. I literally laughed. He probably thought I was insane, but I was just like, oh, no. He was like, no, really, it's stage 4. I was like, oh, it's impossible. There is no stage 5. Well, there is, but it's a whole new journey. And I just thought to myself, that's a lie. It's a lie. And yet I knew it was the truth with a small t in the world of form, because I knew it. I knew where it was. It was right here. I went in to have him look at it. I knew what that was in the world of form, but it's a lie in the face of truth. And I am standing here today, the way I'm standing here today, in the body I have today, because I knew it was a lie. And I wasn't going to buy it as anything other than a lie and something in the world of form that I was going to get through. Right? Every single one of us has the ability to literally step away from the lies. But first, there you go. But first, you got to know what those lies are. And you have to know when they show up. Because some of them show up in the form of people and what they're saying to you. And some of them show up in the form of judgment coming from people to you. And when that happens, you have to be willing to disengage. Thus, I can unfriend someone whose judgment doesn't work for me. And it might not even be judgment of me. It may be judgment of the world. It's an energy. You have that power. You have that right. Someone said to me recently, they said, I can't unfriend anybody because then they'll know, and what will they think of me? And I was like, they'll think you don't want to be their friend. Do you? He's like, no. You can tell them. Tell them. Why live the rest of your life in a lie? In a relationship that doesn't work for you? In a career that doesn't work for you? Oh, the many people who spend their whole lives doing work that doesn't work for them. That's living a lie. So we have to be willing, as Ernest Holmes says, we must be willing to step away from the lie. I'm going to read this quote from Ernest Holmes, and it's a little longer than quotes I usually use, so take a deep breath. But listen to these brilliant words of wisdom from him. He says, we must come to know that in mind there is perfect freedom. And in this freedom, nothing can bind us, either mentally or physically. Nothing which we ever did or thought, or that anyone else ever did or thought, can bind us. The very life of God is freedom. And this infinite life and action compels us to act out the truth about ourselves on the objective plane. Act out the truth. So I want to ask you today, what is the truth about you? And we touched on this yesterday. It really was so wonderful yesterday to have that many hours to sit and go through these questions. I'm going to ask you today, though, what is the truth about you? Who do you know yourself to be? You're only as free as your view of yourself. Your freedom has a ceiling when you occupy an identity of yourself that is less than your truth. So, who do you know yourself to be? Raymond Charles Barker said, you cannot go beyond your own self-accepted image. So we are talking this whole month about freedom, and Karen just sang the heck out of it. Freedom, 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 right? Modulating, freedom, freedom, more freedom, freedom, freedom. You will only be as free as the identity you possess. And at this center, I am God is our motto. It is our theme. It is our anthem. It is the words I use every single day. I am God. I'm not just a little piece of God. I'm not just a wave of the ocean. I'm not just a sand of the shore. I am all of it, funneling through me and allowing me to speak, know, express, and experience in so much bigger ways because I'm not living the part, I'm living the whole. It's about being the one with the one. Jesus said, I am one with the one. He didn't say, I am one of the one. He didn't say, he said, I and the Father are one. He didn't say, I am a part of the Father, the small diminished part that's a little bit frayed sometimes on earth. And even though Terry said this, I'm changing what Terry just said. I am not a spiritual being having a human experience. I will not denigrate my human experience by saying it's something different than my spiritual experience. Because now, what am I doing? Duality. I'm saying, as a human, I have these things to look forward to. But eventually I'll be divine. Or I'm a divine, but there are times I have to live in the human. No, it's all God. Cancer was God. I lived through the divine expression of cancer. And so it may be down here on the level of where I want to live. It's still God. As Ernest Holmes says, the absolute, the relative is the absolute at the level of the relative. God is God no matter where you go, no matter what you're doing. But you are free to decide what level of God do you want to live at. You want to live down here? Have at it. You want to live up here? Have at it. You must know who you are in order to reach the level of life you wish to live. And you have to be willing to accept who you are, demand who you are. I am God. How dare I not have money? I am God. How dare I not have love in my life? I am God. How dare I not have creative expression and do what I love to do? No, when you know who you are. If you were living in a home and someone tried to come in and take your home away, you would say, I own this home. You don't get this home. Get out of my house. Wouldn't you? If someone tried to take something that was yours? Well, someone has taken many of our identities. It's time to reclaim them, take them back. I know who I am. And as this person, I have the freedom to choose whatever it is I want. Once you decide who you are, the world will be happy to agree with you. Think about that. Think about it. Once you decide who you are, the world will agree with you. In any respect, if you decide you're a victim, you will find every perpetrator around. You have to. Can't be a victim without a perpetrator. If you decide that you are weak, you will find every experience on the planet to show you that you are weak. But if you decide that you are the power of the universe, that you are powerful, you watch what shows up on your doorstep. You watch what happens when you step into your identity in such a profound way that you know who you are so clearly that that's who everyone meets. You know, Ripsime, who went to Guatemala with us, shared a story yesterday about when she climbed up to the top of a mountain, and a bunch of them in Guatemala climbed up to the top of this mountain, and it was a rainy day, so it was a very slippery climb up to the top of this mountain. And when they got to the top of the mountain, I can do it in my words, right? Yeah. You know, Ripsime said yesterday in class, she said, you know, when we got up there, I just thought, oh, if that's not the jump, I'll just go down the other side. There was no going down the other side. The mountain was slippery. You'd kill yourself. So you had one choice: jump from the top of the mountain into a puddle of water. It's actually a river with rocks in it. And so she had a choice. And here's the choice, and I didn't say this yesterday. Here was the choice she had. She could either meet herself and jump, or she could run away from herself and ultimately risk death. That's the choice we have every day. We can meet ourselves and jump, or we can go backwards and possibly to an ultimate death. And it's death every time we show up in a job we don't love. It's death every time we stay in a relationship that doesn't work for us. It's death every time we say, yes, I agree, to a doctor that says to us, you're sick. It's death. So what is it going to be? Are you going to jump? You're going to meet yourself and jump? Or are you going to back down? That's the question. Are we going to disengage from the lies and engage in that which is the truth? Freedom comes at the level of our acceptance of it. That's where freedom comes. And it really does put us in the position of demanding of ourselves that which we may think we are not equal to, but we are equal to. There is something in us that is equal to whatever we have in mind. There is something in you, something in me, that is equal to whatever we choose to be equal to. So, can I tell you who you really are? Can I? Yes? Okay. At some time, a time so long ago that I don't think any of us could really even fathom bringing our minds back that far. At some time, the infinite creative energy of the universe made a decision. And it was a decision to express, to live something new, something exciting. And so we all showed up as perfect expressions of this infinite creative energy substance. And we all showed up, and we continue to show up over and over and over again. You know, I think of Katie passing this week, and I'm like, she passed this doorway into the next doorway. She's now somewhere else showing up. Because we keep doing it over and over and over again and showing up and living and expressing. And along the way, we get to choose how we want to live. So when I look at you, when I look at everybody that comes here on a Sunday or a Wednesday or whatever day you're here, when I look at you, I can see that something deep down inside there, that spark that began it all. That thing inside of you going back to that place before you knew anything. That place in you that is so able to live life so to the fullest that every moment is new and every moment is possible and nothing that has happened before has any play. It's just pure potentiality. And that's the truth of who I am, and that's the truth of who you are. And so we truly are free, as Ernest Holmes says. Freedom is your birthright. It's who you are. It's what you are. We are free. Nothing is holding you back. Nothing is stopping you from being that divine energy. Nothing stops you from choosing what it is you want to live, who it is you want to be, and then doing it. Do it now. Nothing is standing in our way as the divine essence of the universe. Nothing. Because that's who I am, that's who you are, that's who we are. And the minute we decide to accept that as our identity, everything else will literally be disengaged and we will be standing on that table so proud, so full, so firm, so sure, so full of love only, having forgiven everything that there is and not only remembering who we are, but seeing it everywhere we go because that's all we'll be attracting. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.